Okay, today we are watching this video to get some tips and tricks on how to format your writing on Google Docs. And some of these apply to anything that we do in Google Slides, Google Docs. So let's get started. This is an essay that's already been typed up, and as you can see, it needs some work. Okay, so we're going to work on fixing these things and going through and adding some stuff and using this top toolbar at the top of Google Docs. So first we start off with we need a header. A header is where we write our heading, just like we do in any sheet of paper that we do in class. Anything that we turn in has a heading always on the right hand side of the paper. Okay? To do that, you have to go to Insert right here. Then you have to go to Headers and Footers and Header. Okay? Once you click there, you have this nice little top box that opens up. But as you can see, I need to type on the right, and right now this is at the middle. So if I go up here and I choose this first one, that moves it to the left, not where I need it. If I go choose the second one, you see how it shows me here where it's going to go? Center align, I mean center in the middle. Don't need it there either. So I finally go to this one that has the lines lined up on the right hand side and it says right align. I click there and now I have it on the right hand side, which is exactly what I need. Now that I'm here, I can start typing. Oh, sorry. There you go. I can start typing. So I hit and I start typing my first and last name. But what do you see that happens here? Somehow I got this to make it bold and underlined, but I don't need that here in my heading. So how do you take those things away? You highlight and click up here on these letters. So you have bold and underlined, and now it's gone. So you see how they're no longer colored in? Another thing you can do is hit Control B on your keyboard and it'll bold it for you. I don't want that, so I'll hit Control B again. Or Control U and that underlines it for me. Don't want it underlined, so I hit Control U on my keyboard and it goes away, right? So now I'm done. I click at the end of my name. I need my date next. So how do I get to the next line? I hit Enter one time. And I put today's date, August 17th. And now I need my teacher's name, which is me in this case. So you hit Enter just once, and I have my teacher's name. Okay. Now, what else do I need here on top of my page? This is an essay, so what should I have here in the center of my page? I should have a title. So I hit Enter one time so I can go to the next line. But now I need this to be in the center. So do you remember where we go to make everything go to the center, our writing to the center? If you sit here up top, that is exactly where we go. So you click there, now it's in the middle, and I need to type my title. And I'm going to call it Tips and Tricks. That's what we're talking about today, tips and tricks for Google. Looks good, everything's spelled correctly, I have good capital letters, but my title should be bolded and underlined. So how do you do that again? Think about it for a second. There are two ways that I can make this bold and underlined. First, I'm going to highlight my title. Be careful when you highlight. If you go too far or you move stuff around, that can happen. And I'll show you how to undo that in a second. So I carefully highlight. I can go up here and click the B and the U, and that will bold it and underline it for me. Or I can use my keyboard. It's much faster. I hit Control and B together, and then Control and U together. Okay. Now I click off the bottom of my page, and I have my nice heading up here, and I have my nice title there. Good. Now let's work on the actual body of the paragraph. I'm seeing here, and I'm seeing there's a lot of spaces here and here, but I don't see spaces here. So what's going on? Here's how our writing should look. At the end of each paragraph, I should hit Enter just one time. So say I have two paragraphs together here. I know that this paragraph starts at the word secondly. I need to hit Enter just one time. Now it's in a new line, but what happened here is there's no indent. Each paragraph should start with an indentation. How do I do that on my keyboard? I hit the Tab button, Tab, one time. That's it on your keyboard. And you see how here there's too many spaces again? Well, I need to make this go back up here. How do I do that? I click at the beginning of my writing, at the beginning of the paragraph, and I hit backspace one time and it moves it for me. If I hit backspace another time, that happens again where it goes to the paragraph on top of it. And I don't want that. I want it separate. So I want to hit enter. And now this time the computer recognized that I want an indentation and it did it for me, right? So let's do that here. I'm going to hit backspace to go back up. I need an indentation. The computer didn't do it for me this time. So how do I indent? What button do I push on my laptop, on my keyboard? If you said tab, you're right. There you go. Now that looks a little better. I don't have too many spaces everywhere. Okay. Now, earlier I made a mistake where I moved some words around and I didn't want to do that, right? So say, for example, I got this word here and I accidentally dragged it somewhere random, like right there. Well, that's not where that word goes, and now I have mistakes. How do I go back and fix that? Well, there's two ways. The first way is we go up here. And you see when you click this back arrow or you go over the back arrow, it says undo. I want to undo that mistake. I want to go back. Now I just fixed what I did. Another example is if I accidentally delete it, it's gone. Poof, I want it back. I can also hit Control Z on my keyboard. Control and Z together, and it just fixed my mistake, right? Then say I misspelled something. Let's say I misspelled riverbank. Let's keep the same word as an example. I'm not sure how to fix that spelling. I'm not sure how to spell back, riverbank, sorry. So if I right click on my mouse, if you're using a mouse, or if you have your mouse pad on your Chromebook and you double tap with 2 fingers, it will give you suggestions for spelling and it'll fix it for you, right? Another way you can do that is up here, there's these options, file, edit, view. And if you go through them, you see some certain options that some of you know, like copy and paste, right? Some of them, not too sure what they're about, okay? So there's all these options that we'll eventually talk about, just not right now. Yet, we will eventually. Then we go to tools, and we see that they have spelling and grammar. I wanted to check my spelling, so I would go to spelling and grammar. Okay, and here the very first option is a spelling and grammar check. I'm gonna click that. And it's seeing that, hey, this word should be is, not are. So I'm gonna click that and say, yes, I want that. And then it goes to my misspelled word over here. It's saying it shouldn't be riverback, it should be riverbank. So I'm gonna click it and it's gonna change it for me, right? Now it tells me your document looks good, there's no other mistakes. Perfect, right? So it looks like a nice paragraph. There's one more thing. We need to have this double spaced, meaning there should be more than one space between each line. I don't go and hit enter a whole bunch of times, that takes too long. The easiest way to do this is by highlighting everything all at once. And how do I highlight? Well, I can click and drag up. That's not too hard. But it's even easier if you hit Control and the letter A at the same time. Control A, it highlights it all together for you, right? Now, I would go here where these little lines are with the 2 arrows pointing up and down, line spacing. And I need it double, meaning there's 2 spaces in between. So if you see here, it starts with single, and then 1 in 1500ths, and then 1 in 5/10. I need double. Now I have a nice space between my lines, right? This looks like even a more organized essay and a longer essay. It makes it look even better. Okay. Now let's say that you and your partner share documents because you want your partner to read your work and give you some feedback. Well, how are you going to give them feedback? You can't write on this paper. What we do on Google Docs is we give each other comments. So say, I really like this sentence right here. That's a really good sentence. I'm going to highlight that sentence and then click this plus sign, here, or it's also up here for some of us, okay? I would click here, that's the easiest one, and now I can type my comment to my partner. I think this is a great, I have some mistakes, let me go back and fix it. I think this is a great sentence. Exclamation because I mean it. Now, just because you typed it doesn't mean it's there. You have to click this comments button so it can go through. It's kind of like an enter. Now when your partner goes and opens their essay, they see that this is highlighted and that you left them a comment, right? And if you say, oh, never mind, I don't want that comment, I want to take it away. There's two ways, remember, you can go back to the back arrow, or on your computer you can hit Control Z and it takes it away, right? Then, when we're writing our essay, we're supposed to have it color-coded or rainbow writing. And if you remember, what's the color that your first paragraph has to be in your rainbow writing? Give you a second to think. Let's see if you got it right. The first paragraph should always be green. So I'm going to highlight this first paragraph again. If I try to do Control A to highlight, that's going to highlight everything. No, here I just want the first paragraph, so I need to just click and drag here. Okay. Now here, remember earlier we talked about this A with the line under it. This is text color. This means that your letters, you can change the color of them. So if it has to be green, well, I'm going to choose, ooh, this is the brightest green there is. Let me choose that one. Ooh, but what happened there? That's really hard to understand. So I'm going to I'm going to go back. I'm going to do undo. I don't want the letters green. What if I want the highlight to be green? That looks better, right? Let's try that with our last paragraph. What color does the last paragraph have to be? Let's see. If you said red, you are correct. That's where you stop. I've highlighted that red. Okay? Now, the middle ones, we're going to talk about what colors they are later, but the same thing happens. Okay? And look, I think I just saw a mistake. This is not supposed to be a second paragraph. I'm going to hit backspace and make that one paragraph altogether. There you go. I fixed that. So these are just some tips and tricks on how to format your writing. A lot of nice and easy things to do, right? If you have any further questions, feel free to let me know, and make sure you're following all these tips and tricks to have a nice looking essay just like this. Thank you, and we'll talk later.